Good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon.
I'm Gangadharan, representing Heritage Foundation, Hyderabad, and of course, Chennai. We will start the program because this is our last program of 3 + 4 day, 1 day. And we have always stuck to the time. And welcome to every one of you who are present and who will join us in the next few minutes of time. It's with a great pleasure and with a lot of privilege, I invite every one of you on behalf of the following institutions which have been very gracefully supporting our efforts. Dr. Raja Samuel, Principal of the Madras School of Social Work. Dr. Mangaleshwaran, Head of the Department of Social Work, Bharatidasan University. Dr. Chanavir, Head of the Department of Social Work, Karnataka University, Central University of Karnataka. Dr. Lakshmi, Social Work Department, Central University of Kerala. Dr. Teddy Andrews from Manipal Academy, Prasanna College of Social Work. I'm sorry, I'm not visible on the video because I have some technical problems in my video. Therefore, I'm not appearing. My apologies. We have Dr. Mary Angeline, Principal, Nazareth College of Arts and Science, Chennai. Dr. Kanaka from Social Work Department of Kaveri College, Trichy. Dr. Chandramouli from Department of Social Work, University of Mysore. Representative of Kshetra, Alzheimer's Society, Hyderabad chapter, and Heritage team. While welcoming all the dignitaries I mentioned, it's absolutely one of my dreams is to talk about social work and dementia. We had a series of sessions last year with about almost 25 speakers from almost 18 countries talking about the role of social work in geriatric care. And that is coming through with two eminent personalities very closely involved in dementia care. Dr. Sojan Anthony from Nimans, who has done extensive work. I am very attracted by his role earlier as what is called psychiatric social worker. I think having been a student of social work in 1970s, I understand the role of psychiatric social worker. And number two, Dr. Anbu from Pondicherry University. I missed your name, my apologies. Dr. Matthew Kanamala is a person whom I've known for over 25 years of time, having met him in Kerala more than 30 years ago, probably 95, 96. Who has also been doing a lot of work on, on Alzheimer's dementia care. Unlike the past 3 days where we had 3 to 4 speakers, today we limited to two speakers because we won't want to rush and we are asking students of social work to come. So welcome all of you. I'm going to request 1 or 2 of our eminent people to say a few words before I introduce the speakers further. If Dr. Raja Samuel is there, I would like you to say a few words before we start.
Thank you, Dr. Gangadharan. As usual, in the series of workshops that you do, this is also a fantastic opportunity to reflect on social work in dementia. And I think the last 3 days, you have given all of us the opportunity to look at dementia in a variety of perspectives, right from the psychological to the medical and caregiver and so on. So I think this I feel it's a very, very important topic of with the increasing population facing dementia. I think social workers have a very, very important role, and particularly in terms of awareness building, and also focusing on not only the dementia person affected with dementia, but also the caregivers. I think the caregiver burden has been under the scope of social work for quite some time, and increasingly with changing family relationships and so on, the caregiver burden is also changing in nature. I think that could be one of the important areas for focus of social workers in future. And I think today's deliberations, I'm sure with the two experts, will add a lot of value to us. We look forward to that. And thank you for organizing this wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Raja Samuel. Now I invite Dr. Mangaleshwaran, head of the Department of Social Work from Bharathidasan University, to say a few words. I saw him, Dr. Mangaleshwaran, I saw. Okay. Then I will come to, I'm going to only add 3 or 4 of you introducing, what to expect out of this whole program, and also have another 3, 4 at the conclusion of the 2 speakers. Now I invite Dr. Teddy from Manipal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gangadharan sir. Of course, he's my mentor and guru. It's really a pleasure to, come on this platform to share a few thoughts, or just one thought that I have about dementia and social work. I think, probably I would like to sow a seed in the platform, because we're all social workers come together. I think, what is probably lacking, I've been into aging research for almost close to 8 years now. And, I think what I've been seeing is the evidence-driven social work interventions, particularly in India, is, very, very limited. And also one of the recent, predictions said that almost one in 5, older adults in 2050, will have some form of dementia. So I think, we have such a scenario, and also we have this, welfare policies and programs that are very, very limited. And I'm sure we cannot depend on the state alone for, for developing infrastructure for facilities to care older adults with dementia. But of course, as Raja Samuel has said, I think it's a lot depends on family-based care. And of course, even now, even though we have a large number of older adults, suffering from dementia, still home-based nursing care is the, one of the main models that exist in India. So I think it's, in this process, from my experience, I see that in a lot of families, adult children, they do struggle in meeting the care needs of older adults, particularly when they have memory-related problems. So it is very important that we need to integrate, interventions, even to probably strengthen the family bonding, intergenerational care exchanges. And also, I feel, we also need to probably think of, developing various support services, which would probably kind of help the adult children to and also young people to meet the care needs of older adults having dementia. So with those few thoughts, I would like to leave here. Thank you very much, Gangadharan sir, for the opportunity.
Pleasure. Very nice, Dr. Teddy, that you joined in despite having some meetings soon after this. Thanks a lot. The next that comes in is, can I have Dr. Anbu from Pondicherry University, Central University?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please,
Thanks
please,
a lot, sir, for the opportunity.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure. Yeah.
There are currently around 4.1 million people living with dementia, and this figure is set to triple by 2050. This is the data morning I was browsing and could find. We know that social workers whose focus and skills relate to the individual and the environment, the interaction between the individual and the environment are perhaps the most appropriate professionals to serve this growing population of persons with the dementia, as has been rightly mentioned by the previous 2 speakers. But in order to do so, social workers must have the knowledge complete knowledge about the illness, its course, and its effect on the individual, the family, and the society. The education on dementia in the schools of social work has to be further strengthened. I hope that this webinar will address this issue and explore the ways of filling the gaps in the education, practice, and development of gerontological social workers whose skills and services are highly needed by persons living with dementia and their caregivers. Sir, on behalf of the Department of Social Work, Pondicherry University, I would like to express my sincere appreciations and gratitude to you for your unstinted efforts in addressing the issues and concerns of elderly population in India by organizing a series of programs and webinars on pertinent issues related to elderly. And also, I take this opportunity to welcome the two resource persons, Dr. Sojan Anthony and Dr. Matthew Kannamada. We are eagerly waiting for your address, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Anbu. Now, since Dr. Mangaleshwaran has not come back yet, I will, is Dr. Chennavir available here? From Central University, Karnataka? Okay, then let me see whether Dr. Mary Angeline, Principal, Nazareth College is here. I'm sure they will all join in between the time. Since is Dr. Lakshmi from Social Work Department, Central University, Kerala? Okay, now I invite Dr. Kanaga from Kaveri College to say a few words. I saw her messages.
Very pleasant afternoon, one and all gathered here in the virtual webinar. I would like to express few things of dementia. Because my mother itself, she herself is a patient, and she's literally suffering, and she was a very active person, and she was able to perform, and she used to control us like anything. But now, after the problem of dementia, she has she's very much struggling, and she's not able to do anything. Her thought process stopped, and she's literally bedridden. And I know how much the dementia patients suffer like anything. Here again, the role of social work play a very pivotal role in creating awareness or building awareness, in sensitizing the community regarding this dementia problem of the older persons, so that these problems can be addressed earlier. Even we could, we were not in a position to identify earlier. Only later part we could identify the issue for my mother. Even because of that, she had little more problems like. So in my experience, it's my humble request for all of the social work fraternity that it is our serious task to sensitize the community and the younger children, and also the social work students to focus more on this issue to support the older persons. I really thank the Heritage Foundation and Dr. Gangadharan sir for their wonderful, tremendous task, continuous task in sensitizing the various issues of older persons and carrying them in different perspective and different dimensions. So really, it's a very eye-opening, and it is a very awareness-building program. All the programs being organized by the Heritage and Heritage Foundation help the humanity and especially the older persons. So I thank for this opportunity, and I wish all of them to continue this efforts. So we will also travel with them, and we will try to sustain our own efforts for the welfare of older persons. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kanaga. I think with this, we'll wait for other few people to come towards the end. If they come in, we'll have them talk as well. And I think it's my great pleasure to introduce, Dr. Sojan Anthony. Dr. Sojan Anthony is basically a psychiatric social worker. And I remember in 1985, maybe 85 or 85, I went to Amala Cancer Institute in Kottayam. I didn't meet him then there. I was working in head of the Apollo operations in Chennai. So I went to address the Amala Cancer, and one of the keynote addresses I went to give there. So I remember that he is from that place. And now we are having worked in National Institute of in NMIH, and also been involved in teaching in Christ University, Bangalore, and having been a professor in National Institute of Institute of Health and Neurosciences. I think from where most of professionals in India draw inspirations on particularly mental health, and more so dementia. This is not the first time that he is going to address us. And I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to Dr. Sojan Anthony. Despite all his time constraints, he had agreed to spend 20 minutes with us. And being a social worker, I don't think I would, as an organizer, have more pleasure than inviting him to speak. Handing over to Dr. Sojan Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you, Heritage Foundation and Dr. K.R. Gangadharan sir. And it's my privilege to be with all of you, those who are very senior. And I know that you're personally friends of my own teachers and gurus in NIMHANS. And I know that many of you are connected. I had attended your own sessions in past. It's my privilege. And I had prepared the PowerPoint, but since I have an opportunity to address the senior most and the youngest professionals together, I just wanted to tell that what's happening in NIMHANS right now in the field of dementia under the banner of geriatric clinic and services. As you know that NIMHANS has 3 major divisions like psychiatry, neurology and neurosurgery. So the 2 divisions are actively involved in dementia care or care of persons with Alzheimer's and different types of dementia. So one is the geriatric clinic and services, and another group is neurology. And both these groups are very important because there are certain dementias which are preventable, which are the memory problems are reversible, and certain problems we need to give the supportive care. So if you see in NIMHANS, be it in neurology or psychiatry, except the doctors who lead these projects, I can tell happily that we, the social workers, are leading the major research. We, the social workers, are leading the care services. We are the one who lead the training programs. In fact, I was looking forward to a lot of collaboration with all of you. And that way, I just wanted to tell you that what's happening in NIMHANS right now. So as Gangadharan sir told, I was a faculty at Christ University. 6 years ago, I joined here. That is the time we thought of observing with the Indian Institute of Science and NIMHANS, where I am also co-investigator. We thought of observing 1,000 individuals in Srinivasapura Taluk, nearby Bangalore. What happens from 45 to further next 10 years, what happens in their life, what are the correlates of the dementia, which includes the different kind of health profile, then MRI, and then further kind of correlates. I just wanted to tell that when this project started, we wanted to enter the community and we wanted to take samples. And in that project, I tell you, out of 4 major coordinators, 3 were the social workers and only 1 was from psychology department. And these 3 social workers developed a network in the Taluk under the guidance of epidemiology, clinical neuroscience and neurology and psychiatry. And then we fed around another 8 social workers in community to connect with the community and do the community-based screening and do the research further to find the correlates of the dementia. See this I'm just telling from Nimhan's experience, and again and again. See, 12, it's a kind of 12 crores project led by social work team, the scientifically guided by the neurologist, psychiatrist, neuroscientist. So here you can see that the team size. So here comes the importance of social workers, because we are the link between the hospital and the community for the early identification and prevent the delay in seeking treatment. I repeat, early identification and prevent the delay in seeking treatment is one of the major tasks in front of us. I will tell major challenge in front of us. I would like to give you a personal experience of my own family. My grandmother had the dementia. My father at the age of 70 is already showing the early mild stage of cognitive impairment or the mild dementia, where I have seen that many interpersonal problems, many family dynamics, many fights within the family, which is secondary to this unidentified delay in identification, actually causes a lot of trouble both to the individual and caregivers and the associated social support system. Why I want to tell you that many times when we do the counseling, we think that the aging related problems, many things we can counsel and we'll settle it. Because if you do not have, we do not have the basics of this understanding about dementia, I'm very sure that Matthew sir will cover what is dementia and other things. So the basic understanding of dementia or the mild cognitive impairment or the problems in memory, or in simple words for the trainees, the problems in memory, the problems in problem solving, problems in orientation, means where are they, like where am I, which place, with whom, what time, and then ability to take a decision, judgment, and then language. All these kind of issues actually create a lot of trouble to the elderly, and then the elderly is likely to behave differently. And as the Newton's law, every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. If an elderly behaves differently, definitely family will have its own burden, and then they are likely to have some kind of problems like the elder abuse and neglect, discrimination, early institutionalization, and all these issues actually preventable problem. All these problems are preventable only one step if we can follow early identification, and if we can facilitate treatment early. And along with that, I have another case study which I wanted to tell. We had a case of a daughter who was pursuing her bachelor's in Christ University. She was about to stop her education, and she was about to dedicate her entire life for caring her father who had been diagnosed with the dementia. So the social work team identified in clinical services. I want to cite an example. Social work team identified the need for social care, the need for social support for that child who doesn't have other social support. And then we facilitated a daycare center. This is also published in the Indian Journal of Community Medicine, before and after, how was the life. So before this intervention, before the treatment or the psychosocial care services, the child was the primary caregiver. The daughter was about to drop out from first year or second year graduation. And then we could help her to identify a daycare center. And then the father was sent to the daycare center, and the child could continue the education and complete the education. There are hundreds of case studies which shows that the proactive social workers intervention will reduce the disability burden of care and the impact on the family. The impact, as you all know, that the cost of care we have not estimated. Actually, if you estimated cost of care on family, it will come in the billions of rupees. So investing, so I usually argue with the doctors, see the dementia care, what treatment you can offer? Very minimum treatment. 90% of dementia care is social care. So you need to have somebody who can look after, and we have the actually speaking scarcity of the care workers. I know the Heritage and do excellent work in promoting the number of care workers. So NIMHANS had another project. The first project was 12 crores project. The another project was around 2 crores project by National Stock Exchange. So here we just thought to have a little more smart plan, like our psychiatry and psychiatry social work team. We thought we'll have a smart plan where can we train unemployed youth in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka? The certain districts are declared as aspirational districts because there is a chance to develop further. So we thought to identify the young female or male who is unemployed, who has completed 10th and could not continue further studies. Can we educate them about how to take care of people with dementia at home or in institutions? And can we give them some stipend, and can we train them further to become a care worker? So this is another project which is running. Again, I just want to tell, this project is also partially led by Dr. A. Tirumurthy, the famous, he is known to many of you as senior consultant in the geriatric psychiatric social work in NIMHANS, and Dr. P.T. Sukumar, the senior psychiatrist in the geriatry. So a lot of teamwork happens where we thought, can we work on a kind of care resources can we generate further. The another interesting project which we have taken very recently by ICICI Securities. So where we thought, can we train around 200 volunteers? The volunteers from social work, volunteers from psychology, volunteers from elderly. Can we take them? Can we bring them to NIMHANS clinic? Can we show them what is dementia? How caregivers are suffering? What kind of support can make differences in their life? And this project actually is already launched. The vacancies are advertised again. Majority of the vacancies are reserved for social workers. This is the fact that our insight into the social dynamics, individual intrapsych dynamics, individual needs, biopsychosocial needs of individual, the social needs of the family dynamics, family functioning, and the cultural aspect, social fabric, and the type of support system available, and importance of generating welfare schemes. All these dimensions social workers can contribute. And the research is the other key area in NIMHANS. I wanted to cite one of my PhD scholars is here already. She will tell about, she has an Miss Anu Kayan in the list of participants. She is there. She will tell once I just finish another 5-10 minutes. She is doing a study on wandering. Like how wandering, she's a social work MSW graduate and did MPhil from NIMHANS and doing a study on wandering among people living with the dementia. How does it is correlated with the severity of dementia, caregivers burden, and what kind of wandering is creating disturbance. See that how beautifully Indian social workers are contributing towards the knowledge. So that wandering is one of a very highly sensitive care burden inducing behavioral symptom. And this study is actually originated from psychiatry department. They had a discussion, and the Harvard University, one of the professors from Harvard University had visited NIMHANS. That is the time they were telling, we use a lot of technology in prevention of caregivers burden. What are the technologies they use in prevention of a kind of caregiver burden? That it's a major problem, especially in night. Many of these people who have restlessness, they can get up and they can go to the toilet, they can fall, and then sometimes their restlessness behavior can cause sleep disturbance in families. So it can be due to different reasons. One of the reasons can be wandering behavior. So they were telling they have a system where they use a lot of sensors in the room where if person gets up, so the caregiver gets an alarm, or if a person gets up, the light switches on automatically, or a person moves around, they use the GPS watch or the GPS attached to the dress of the person. So many ways they try to prevent the impact of wandering behavior. So then we thought, why can't we take this study? And then NIMHANS also happily approved this study, and then this wandering among persons living with schizophrenia, dementia we are studying. Along with that, we thought one more element we will add: how currently caregivers are managing this wandering behavior, and what are the indigenous techniques people apply for wandering behavior, prevention of wandering behavior. I will ask her to share her one or two thoughts from there. And the another study, which is we are proposed, and from social work point of view, you know that this caregivers burden, calling them for support groups and all, practically it's very difficult. You know that one person may be dedicated their life for caregiving, another person will be the earning member in the family. So it's so difficult to come for support groups or follow-up visits in the OPD. So one of my another student, Cecil, she's under the Dr. Tirmurthy and our team working. So we are looking forward online-based support groups and its efficacy. So this is another major project which is actually happening now from the demands, online support group for caregivers, and how much it helps them to improve their quality of life. How does it heal? See what caregivers actually they need. In our experience at NIMHANS, they need support. That can be emotional support, financial support, material support. They need support. They need information. Many times without information, they struggle to handle the caregiver burden. They need skills training. Suppose if a patient, a person becomes aggressive, suppose a person become like a disinhibitory behavior, or suppose a person is bedridden, how we can help, how the caregiver can take care of the person. So towards the same, we have a online support group we have started from NIMHANS. One of the another very beautiful outcome of psychiatric social work research at NIMHANS, if you can refer it, many of the neurologists are well known about psychosocial care manual for dementia caregivers, again developed by social work team under the guidance of a neurologist and a psychiatric social work professor, and which is even many neurology students has been taken as a reference book. In the sense, it is a cartoon assisted caregivers guidance manual. So this was the beauty of that manual, where we understood that having text in the manuals are not going to help. So can we have cartoons which directly or indirectly communicates in this difficult situation, this problem behavior, or if a person is not brushing, the person is repeatedly asking food, the person is abusing the caregivers. How can we handle that caregiver's burden? So that using the cartoons he has depicted, and even many of the pharmacy companies are reprinting these issues and giving to the neurologists for helping them to support the caregivers' education. So these are some of the leading interventions at NIMHANS has happened recently. I'm very sure that we are looking forward further. From NIMHANS alone cannot do anything. You know that, no? NIMHANS need to have a mutual learning forums. That's what we are looking forward further. Mutual learning forums means like what is happening in community, how social work institutions are addressing these issues. We are very sure that some of our campaigns, one of the campaign was this sensitization program for the children and grandchildren on the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizen Act, where we understood many times if you do not reach out the grassroots level communities, many times if you do not reach out to the old age homes or care institutions or care professionals, all of you are care professionals. You are trained and you have great experience in the field. Your insights are very rich. And above all, how many trainees can be trained at NIMHANS? Every year, hardly we train around 30 trainees in social work. In that, maybe aging related, one one or two trainees may take it up this as a course. I know the Bharatiya University, I know the many Pondicherry University and the universities, central universities of Karnataka, Kerala, and the many of the colleges, Madras School of Social Work, many colleges do amazing job, and you have more number. You can, when we try to convince 2 trainees to take it up this as a course, you will every year can convince 10 trainees to take it up this as a course. I wanted to tell you that there's a shortage of social work jobs in our social generic social work sector compared to the HR or the other kinds of the corporate social responsibility. But I mind you that if you can invest the trainees' time in learning and negotiating and advocacy skill in the field of dementia care, that would be the greatest investment. As per the statistics now, it shows that, as I was telling, around 4.1 million, and in world over around 55 million people. And actually speaking, they need individual care by one nurse and one social worker to meet many of their needs. And do we have that many social workers? We do not have. I want to tell my trainees, those who are listening, like how Dr. Our Gangadhar sir is doing, if you can take it as this as a course, and if you can invest your time to learn about aging, to learn about care resources, to learn about advocacy strategies, if you can spend time on individual counseling, family counseling, group counseling, community participation. Can we learn skills in community, how to generate community participation for elderly care, dementia care? And there are good models. I'm very sure that Matthew sir may speak about how community participation reduce the caregivers' burden. I can tell about my own village in Todupuzha, in Idiki district, Kerala, which is in Koduveli, is the exact village name. Koduveli, the town is Todupuzha, and the district is Idiki, Kerala. So I have seen a person with dementia throughout the life never had been locked the room because of community participation. Person was allowed to move. The person moves beyond the boundary. One of the community members actually accompany the person till the home and drops. So such kind of low-cost community models will ensure the dignity and ensure the respectful life for people who live with the dementia. My dear friends, I just want to tell that many times if you see the daughter-in-law, mother-in-law, or father-in-law, son-in-law dynamics, if you analyze, especially in family therapy, we can clearly see that the cognitive impairment is the foundation of many of the interpersonal problems. And if you can identify and associated mental health problems, we should not forget the fact that how we see in our geriatric clinic and services, the dementia associated mental health problems like depression, hallucination, anxiety disorders, delirium, all these problems are treatable conditions. And many times caregivers are not aware. Once again, let me tell about my grandmother's, maternal grandmother's experience. About towards her death, due to the stroke, she developed the kind of dementia, and then she started to hear the voices of my maternal grandfather, and she used to listen to the voices as if that the voice is inviting, enough, your life is enough, come to heaven, the children are very bad. And these episodes of hallucination used to happen in the night, and children were clueless, that the sleep were disturbed, and one of the uncles started to drink more alcohol, and all this kind of family dynamics spoiled for nearly 6 months. And then they realized the fact that this is dementia associated a kind of problem, hallucination, and that hallucination was treated with the antipsychotics, and it resolved. Further 3 years she lived, and they could provide better care. She could have better interpersonal relation with the own children. So many times we cannot neglect the associated behavioral problems, mental health problems, and the caregivers suffer depression and anxiety, and can we actually ignore it? One more area social workers need to be mindful how we can prevent the dementia among elderly. So many times the social disconnect, socially disconnected, disengagement, and the feeling of loneliness Hearing impairment, world over studies are telling that hearing impairment, if you can help getting hearing assessment and hearing aid, you can prevent the certain amount of cognitive impairment. So if you see that way, support groups for elderly may prevent the dementia. Physical activity camps for senior citizen groups and forums, and the all other kind of preventing poverty and the social issues among senior citizens, and all these things actually can prevent the dementia among senior citizens, and we can contribute significantly. So Dr. Gangadharan sir also had asked us what kind of screening tools you social workers are using, because we know that psychologists and all, they use a lot of neuropsychiatric battery, and they use the cognitive stimulation training program for the people who have mild cognitive impairment or the mild dementia. I just wanted to tell, before the Anu speaks about generally about what are the instruments and the cutoff scores we use here, I wanted to tell here one point: the cognitive stimulation task, which is being trained by this psychologist, they may offer one session, maximum they may offer 2 sessions, and usually those sessions are very costly. In Bangalore, I know many of them charge 1,000 to 3,000 per session. So if we social workers, if you can learn the cognitive stimulation task, you can help them. And these tasks are not that very difficult to learn. One example, they say that they mix the items, they will ask the person to segregate. So that will help us, the person, to think about what are the similar things. Best example is fruits, vegetables, and groceries. You mix it and ask the person to separate it. So they will see that what is similar. Vegetables, same, together one basket, or the groceries one place, or the such items like the toiletries one place. So simple tasks which you can list out, simple relaxation techniques is another thing, and simple ways to identify the needs of the elderly with the dementia. So if you can invest time in learning dementia related information, the cognitive stimulation task related things, some kind of minimum assessment tools, if you know about the dementia, caregiver burden, mental illness, anxiety disorders, and then if you can know that how to generate support for these families and what are the welfare measures are available, like the disability pension and support groups and online support groups, and connecting the Heritage Foundation kind of organization. Many times we need not do everything by ourselves. Let's connect, and who has specialized services, they can also support. With this, let me conclude. Anu, can you come forward and speaks about your findings of your wandering related study, one sentence, and along with that, can you also tell that the different scales used in the dementia clinic in Enhance, and what is the cutoff score for differentiating between dementia and mild cognitive impairment? Yes, Anu, please.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity for sharing my experience. I hope I am audible. And with the permission of Heritage Foundation, I would like to start with Hindi mental status examination. That is a tool which we can actually access them in just 10 to 15 minutes. We can 5 to 10 minutes. It is developed as a screening tool to understand the cognitive impairment. Then this is not for the diagnostic evaluation. So what we understand in this 23 questions, we ask simple questions like whether it is morning or afternoon. So these questions goes even a small recall test to remember some words, and after recalling the words. So the total score comes about 31. So out of that, if it is 25 and above, we can say that there is a significant cognitive impairment. For illiterate, it is 17. If it is 17 and above, we can say that it is a severe cognitive impairment. Another important scale which we use is clinical dementia rating scale. This is actually by Washington University. We can undergo a training through their website. For anybody those who are interested in in the dementia care can undergo the training online. It is Washington University website itself. You can undergo the training. So there is a module we should complete it. So in this clinical dementia rating scale, which is used in our clinical practice, include memory, orientation, judgment and problem solving, the community affairs, home and hobbies, and personal care. So there are 5 cut points. So if there is none of these issues are present, we give 0. And if it is it is questionable, there is a mild cognitive impairment, as Surgeon Sir was suggesting, we can say that it is 0.5. This scale should they should get a 0.5 score. And if they get 1, it's mild dementia, 2, it is moderate, and 3, it is severe. So this is a rating scale which helps us to understand like how severe the dementia is. So coming to the other scales which we use is neuropsychiatric inventory. So the neuropsychiatric inventory, as we know, dementia is also associated with a lot of behavioral issues. So this scale helps to understand 12 behavioral issues about how severe it is and how disturbing it is for the that includes delusion, hallucination, agitation, aggression, depression, anxiety, elation, euphoria, apathy, disinhibition, sleep and nighttime behavior, appetite and eating changes, irritability, aberrant motor behavior, etc. So another one of the important scale which is everyday ability scale for India. So this scale also have a 12 questions. That 12 questions includes how they are. I mean, how they are. They will ask again food. It's a simple questions like whether they urinate in their clothes or whether they are able to tie their clothes. It's a sort of simple questions to the caregivers. It's simple answer of yes or no questions. So in this 12 is the maximum score. So from that we will be able to get this higher the score that there is a issue in the everyday ability.
I think thank you, Anu. I think I just wanted to tell Anu is very resourceful, available in enhance, and doing PhD under Dr. Tirumurthy sir. So definitely because of time limitation, Anu, shall we conclude it from our end?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you wanted
add
to tell,
one about the wandering. One sentence I would like to add that currently there are wandering behavior. It's very difficult to manage, and it actually contributes to the burden quite a lot. So some of the techniques which you can actually, when you deal with when the students would deal with dementia patients, also can use is the alarm system at home, stitching the name and address in the clothes, and also listing the places where they can go. These are immediate things which you can suggest to your family members to reduce caregiver burden. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. I think that's it.
yes.
Yeah,
So that shows the strength of demands. I think our own PhD scholars are well trained, and many of them are completing their PhD. Will be joining with you all, and then you can make use of their services. And with this, let me conclude. Once again, thanks to the Heritage Foundation and Dr. K.R. Gangadharan, and thank you so much, and our best wishes for the next speaker. Dr. Matthew Kanamala is from my own hometown. That's what I guess. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Surgeon. Let me tell you, I think this, I've been extremely unfair to ask you to talk for 20 minutes. Looks, if we ask Anu to talk, she will talk 1 hour. Because she has so much to share, and you really cut it short. But by the time I didn't have to cut it short at all. Let me tell you, it's just phenomenal. I think I feel very, very inspired by what you people speak, and I know that we can do a lot than just talking. I think we should do more. I'm very delighted that we at Heritage Hyderabad, Kshetra, we have about 60 people with dementia, 100% with dementia in home care. We do a lot of activities, but I'm delighted to know scientific aspect of your research and the documentation. And I know sometime I feel that tomorrow morning I should come to NIM and sit with you to learn, spend a few days to learn what it is. It's fabulous. Thank you so much for agreeing to come. Kindly stay with us. Now I request Dr. Matthew. Dr. Matthew must be thinking how long I'm going to get. Dr. Matthew, please talk as long as you want. We are not going to cut your short. Dr. Matthew is a very interesting background. He is also, very happy that he is the head of the Department of Social Work at St. Joseph's College, Moolamattam, and is the director of IPCAI, Kottayam, Kerala. Let me tell you, Kerala for me, though my name sounds Kerala, I'm a Tamilian, but Kerala for me is very special because I've been to Kerala practically every corner, most of the corners, and I've learned a lot attending to some of the conferences organized there. And I've learned an opportunity to talk to a lot of people in various conferences invited by the Kerala government. I think it's Matthew who's going to take over now from us. And Dr. Matthew, we look forward to your input. Thanks a lot once again.
Thank you, Dr. Gangadharan. It is a nice time to talk because after a long practical experiences by Dr. Sojan Anthony from NIMANS, it was such an excellent presentation based on the practical work actually the NIMANS and other colleagues are doing. And one sentence Dr. Sojan raised, that is actually a care professional, how to become a care professional. Actually, this is actually the base of my presentation for the next 20 minutes. Actually, I prepared a small PowerPoint, and definitely you can use this PowerPoint if the time is very short. And I admire the work of Dr. Gangadharan because I heard this name when I was 25-year-old. Now I am 52-year-old. Then, because of the ARDS, Alzheimer's and Related Disorder Society of India, the younger age, I started my journey with dementia. And that time, I don't know what is dementia and Alzheimer's disease or the practical lack of practical experiences. But I interested and my academic career developed only through dementia and Alzheimer's. Next slide, please. I'm going to present about the role. Actually, what is a dementia social worker? The practical experiences already, as Dr. Sojan explained, how this social worker become the dementia social worker or the geriatric social workers. They coordinate and care of all the people with disabilities. Even if in the settings is including in the hospitals, in home care, the community health clinic, especially Dr. Sojan mentioned about community partnership programs. And the coordination is very important. And the other word is, he mentioned the link between the hospital or the community or the home care system to the supporting system. That is actually the dementia social workers role. Next, please. And at the same time, the role I put into a very short, I don't want to read all the slides, but the important word, the bridge of communication between clients and the rest of the care team. In social work, the multidisciplinary care team is very important. In the holistic approach, the compartmentalization is the big issue in the healthcare system actually we are facing now. But the experience of NIMANS, it's changing because the holistic approach. Here also the multidisciplinary team approach is coming into the scene. That is very important. And actually, I know the functions of the NIMANS before 25 years or 30 years, they started. I think I mentioned, I don't know, the people from NIMANS know that person, Channabas Banna, Dr. R.S. Bhatti, Dr. Matthew Varghese. The many people from NIMANS initiated before 30 years for a multidisciplinary approach. So the bridging is the first role of social worker in dementia care. Next, please. And at the same time, change and adaptation or the family. The researching methods, they maximize the quality, the capacity of the quality of the person with dementia. The maximize. Actually, we know that the dementia, I don't want to explain Alzheimer's or dementia type of dementia, that the degeneration of brain cells and affecting the memory system and the cognition, mainly ABC. We can think about ABC affect behavior and cognition. That ABC of dementia. So you need to focus on getting the person and their carers. Dr. Sojan mentioned that about the carer. Carer is always a hidden patient. We formally I don't know, we are not at all focusing the health of the carer always. Because of the work of the organization like Heritage Foundation, ARDSI, HelpAge, many organizations, Dementia Initiative in Kerala, that in the aspect of carer is a hidden patient. That's why the important role is behind in the social worker is to promote or strengthen the care. That's very important. Otherwise, the care system is difficult. In our culture, maybe the daughter-in-law, maybe the majority care issues are taken care of. That we have to strengthen the care issues. That's the role. How to strengthen, how to give a respite to the carers, how to give a stress-free environment to the carer, etc. Next, please. I think maybe some problem.
Don't worry, it will come.
Okay.
It will be settled.
Okay. And the role is actually continuing. The emotional support actually we can give to the person as well as the carer. And the education of the whole system about the disease progresses. When I started my work with Alzheimer's, that word itself is not very common, and people are misinterpret because of this is some kind of mental illness, etc. And I remember a very interesting thing. Myself and my colleagues met the governor of Kerala in 1998. I forget the name of the governor, but in front of the governor, he was laughing to us, and he said, "Why I am laughing is when I received your letterhead for the request for the meeting, I hand over the letterhead to the intelligence department because I thought this is something related to Al-Qaeda or any other terrorist organization, because Alzheimer's, AL is that he suddenly hand over, and then he realized that Alzheimer's is a particular type of dementia. That's very interesting. Then we moved into the others because of many awareness programs, as well as the film Tanmatra in Malayalam, and we organized Tanmatra Kutam, means the group of people gathered in different places in Todupuzha, in Kottayam, in Delhi, in Calicut, in Cochin, etc., and promote the cause of dementia. Next, please. And next. Yes, assisting with case management, offer assistance. Evaluate the person living with dementia's capacities and competence. I already mentioned. Provide an initial and often ongoing role with care partners for assessment and interventions. There are many care partners. Not only one person is always caring formal or informal care given situations. So the care partners, an initial ongoing role with the care partners. Next, please. And in the social work is especially in the assessment, in the diagnosis, the treatment and prevention of emotional mental illness, and also Dr. Sojan mentioned about the secondary symptoms like hallucinations, sometimes paranoid ideas, sometimes delirium, other kinds of mental illness maybe we can see in the person with dementia. So individual, group and family therapy are common treatment modalities we can use as a social worker. The social worker always, not only always linking or bridging, but at the same time case work is important, group work is important, maybe family therapy and family awareness programs we can do. And the variety of setting, private practice, hospitals, community mental health, primary care centers, and agencies. Actually, in Kottayam, actually my hometown is Kottayam, and actually working in Dr. Sojan's place in nearby Thodupuzha. But in Kottayam, we made big impact with the community partnership programs. We actually, our social workers did a fantastic research in 1997 or 98, and Dr. Devakumar and Dr. Nainan Kurian, both are from UK, geriatric psychiatrists, did a fantastic study in Imanam with the help of Dr. K.S. Shaji. And then we made a big programs, continuous 3 years program in the Panchayat with the help of the self-governments. So I remember how the community empowered, how the link maintained, how the practice is developed, and how we receive different calls. You have a social worker to come to my home and help. We start respite care using our social workers. Respite in the sense of short-term care in a particular place. That is a relief for the carers as well as other family members. And also the individual may train in a different way. So next, please. And this is actually, we know that the person-centered care is very popular now. Why person-centered care? The individual's personal goals. We can't do a particular systematic prepared strategies to each individuals. So social worker as having 3 C's. This is in my experience. 3 C's. This is very easy to remember: creativity, compassion, and commitment. The 3 C's of geriatric social workers. Creativity. Creativity is very, very important because each person with dementia is different and the management is different. If we studied in the MSW or MS Psychology or MPhil, but the client is different. So different approaches are needed for each individual. So the personal goals and preferences, person's family support, financial resources, a person-centered care is important. Maintain a personhood. Treating people as individuals, putting person first, then the label. That is person-centered care. Actually, we started an organization here in Kerala, that is IPCAI, Institute for Person-Centered Approaches in India, with the academic support of people from UK. We have a training center, a geriatric center here in Kottayam. We are doing fantastic internship programs, training programs for MSW students. For the last 1 year, we got 350 students from different social work institutions for geriatric as well as other community training. So we are providing the person-centered approach. That is why the terminology is changed. Very few people are using the term patients or dementia patients. That is changed because changed it to a person with dementia. By putting the person first, then the label. There is no problematic children, only children with the problems. There is no cancer patients, only person with the cancer. So putting person in focus, in first. And at the same time, I am actually talking in connection with Dr. Sojan's beautiful presentation. He used the term inclusiveness. Inclusiveness in all levels, that is person-centered approaches. In terms of opportunities, activities, social interactions. John O'Brien is the very famous American psychologist, promoted 5 accomplishments in person-centered care. Inclusiveness, social roles, contribution, using ordinary places, They have their own right to express their feelings, their emotions. They have equal right to look after. Their equal right to receive care, give care. That's a big area. I don't want to give next slide, please. And valuing people living with dementia and care partners, valuing the person. That is very important as a country like India, a big country, many people. How is possible? Valuing the person living with dementia. Value the integrity, value the dignity of the individual, and valuing the family members and decision making for the decision making. Definitely, a social worker can work as the mediator as well as a decision maker because of the risk reduction strategies are very important in dementia care. You know, the risk reduction strategies. The orthopedic issues are very, very, very increasing in Kerala now. If you visit a hospital, you just see orthopedic surgery ward. Many are there because of the risk reduction strategies are not at all in our home itself. Very few dementia friendly places, dementia friendly houses. I remember before 10 years, we did a fantastic program for the architects, how to make disability friendly houses. The architects, majority of architects are youngsters. They are making houses like their own perspectives. So risk reduction strategies, we can give suggestions. Many churches, not disability friendly or dementia friendly. No wheelchair access. So this is actually the role of the social worker to intervene in the community as well as the decision making. Next, please. And the collecting and using personal experiences, providing quality care. The care is a treatment sometimes, but we forget about the care. So the models of disability, we know, actually everybody know the three models of disabilities. The first is the medical model of disability. Second, the service model of disability. Third, the social model of disability. We are actually just coming out of from the service model. The medical model is actually going for the treatment, going for the, this is the end of the treatment. Maybe neurologists can say this is the end of the medical treatment. You go for some other supports. So the service model we are looking for, but the social model is, we are actually planning to create a social model, inclusiveness, belongingness, ethical consideration, maintaining a supportive and physical organizational environment. That is actually we are talking about. The next generation social workers' role is definitely supporting physical and organizational environment, prioritizing relationships. In UK, I did my dementia studies in postgraduate diploma in dementia studies in the Stirling University of UK. I visited many times in dementia organizations, the University of Manchester, Wolverhampton University, many universities. The people developed a particular type of environment, and environmental facilitation is very positive for person with disabilities. And we are a developing country where our priorities are more other priorities. But Dr. Gangadhar, the main person in India now actually working throughout the day for the voice of person with dementia, for physiological, physical and environmental changes, and assessment, definitely. The assessment is an opportunity. The assessment tools, you already, Anu explained about the assessment tools and the person-centered approaches, and the common tools to assess dementia is explained already. It's many tools. Mini mental status examination is not a diagnostic tool, it's an assessment tool. And general practitioner assessment cognition, a memory impairment screen, mini cognitive test. Mock is very common, Montreal cognitive assessment. And clinical dementia rating scales. You can see many small standardized scales to assess dementia. And what about the area is the communication skills. The social worker should be honest with those who dementia with their families, and the communication is very important because sometimes the language communication may failure, visual communication may very powerful than others. I remember one of our person with the dementia, aged 80-year-old man is reluctant to take bath. Every day, this is a big issue for carers. Very big issue for carers. He is staying in the respite center 2, 3, 4 days in a week. And many people, many times compelled him to take a bath. It was difficult. But a social worker, within 5 minutes, he made it possible. He bring a towel and a soap and stand in front of this person with the dementia. Suddenly he realized this is a sign of taking a bath. So sometimes the language communication may failure, the visual communication may work. Next, please. And pace work and length of relationship, person-centered care approach means person does not feel rushed. Next, happening and understanding in whatever stage the person is, the mild stage or moderate or severe stage. And the support network, developing a support network, to coordinate appropriately and respectfully and use skills of diplomacy accordingly. Next, please. Multi-social work approaches. There are a number of approaches to supporting people with dementia. You are encouraged the training programs, e-learning, resource, etc. Next, please. Multidisciplinary working, I already mentioned about that. My time is running out, that's why. Preparing for the end of life care. With failing health, the key role is to enable a person to consider important and sensitive questions about how they had to care for. And then we are familiar with the lasting powers, attorney, living wills, advanced decisions. These all are in consideration. And already Dr. Soja mentioned about the psychological and behavioral interventions in dementia. Maybe we can use as a social worker some stimulation, cognitive stimulation you already mentioned. I don't want to explain this all, but in the PowerPoint you can use it. The cognitive retraining process, definitely we can use. The name itself, the cognitive impairment, instead of the cognitive retraining. And at the same time, cognitive stimulation therapy, to give stimulations, puzzles, word games, cooking, etc. Next slides, please. And the behavior therapy. And the behavior therapy, the traditionally successful use, reduce behaviors, wandering, aggression, etc. The CBT, sometimes it's difficulty to use if they're in a very pathetic situation, but in the early stage, behavior therapy is very useful. Reality orientation therapy is also an important thing. And reminiscence therapy. Actually, the reminiscence therapy is very, very important. The day before yesterday, we did a fantastic reminiscence corner in our college in Mulamatam, St. Joseph's College. That was a fantastic program and everybody appreciated well, and few students, organizers are here in this group. And we created a 1980 Kerala in a particular place in front of the college. There was a market there was a barber shop, there was a theater, and in the theater, there is an old movie, Kerala movie, Kolilakam. And there is people with traditional 80s dress, the students of MSW. And there is the food, traditional food, and traditional postman, and the traditional police, and gambling. Everything we recreated. Today's newspapers highlight. And so that time, everybody asked, and in connection with what Alzheimer's Day, we did that kind of a creative thing. Everybody asked, what is reminiscence? What is reminiscence therapy? What is the use of reminiscence therapy? And this is actually the relive their experiences and were pleasurable and non-threatening. This includes revisiting previous family holidays, wedding, photos, videos, etc. That is a very good tool for releasing of their tension and worry. Validation, definitely validation therapy. And this is the end of my presentation. I took 2 minutes more, 20 minutes Dr. Gangadharan given me, but I took it 22 minutes. Thank you very much for the grand opportunity for addressing something in front of a very, very rich people are sitting in front of me, the professors of different universities of India. And congratulations to Dr. Gangadharan. And this is the beginning of our journey with new ideas, new creative thinking. Thank you, Sojan. Thank you, Dr. Gangadharan. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matthew. I don't think you need to be apologetic about taking extra 2 minutes and 5 minutes. I think by and large, we would like to retain the audience. I think our interest is to retain the audience. So we have limited it to 1 hour so that, we don't lose the audience, because I think very interested people rightly pointed out. See, at the end of the day, very interesting for both, particularly for the speakers. The speaker's delight is that you could attract 65 colleges, stroke universities, 65 colleges and universities from across the country. And I have not circulated this outside India. Normally I circulated outside India, but I thought let me limit to India. So it's a huge number of colleges and universities that have participated. I think we are trying to reach out to as many as possible. I think if you ask me whether I'm satisfied with this, no, not at all. I think we have to reach. I think people need to respond. I think there are colleges where, you all have your own, NAC inspections, and you have your holidays, you have some exams, you have semesters, all that. With all that, I think the attendance in this conferences, all these 3 days plus today, I think today's attendance has been far exceeded any other day in the last 3 days. But let me tell you, it's been extremely interesting. Dr. Matthew, you made it extremely good, and both you and Dr. Sojan, I don't think anything more. I think there are probably some questions we asked at the time of registration, but I'm not posing them to you because there's no time. There's no time because it's already 4:20. And I think I would like to say big thanks, and I'm sure if Dr. Lakshmi or Dr. Chanavir or Dr. Mangaleshwaran or Dr. Chandramouli is available in this. Prabhakar, if you can remove the, the PowerPoint scale, I think presentation, we can see if any of them are there. If they would like to say anything, we will be grateful. Otherwise, if they're not there, I would like to definitely say big thanks to the Madras School of Social Work, who was, since I am from the Madras School of Social Work, I'm very particular that we, associate them all the time. I also serve their board. There is also a Center for Aging, which will probably take a shape this year and next year. There'll be some work done by Madras School of Social Work. And, the reason I'm getting so closely associated is because I've been part of the dementia from 1994. It's a long time. And since we have seen hundreds of patients, probably not hundreds, thousands of patients over a period of time, I just thought we lack professionalism as far as social work field is concerned. I was very delighted when both of you made a presentation, both Dr. Sojan and Dr. Matthew. made a presentation that so much is being done, and it's very delightful to know that there is so much for us to learn from them, and probably contribute to the quality of life of elderly in the, so with that, I think I would like to say big thanks once again, and I look forward to Dr. Would you like to say, Dr. Samuel, anything? Dr. Raja Samuel, would you like to say anything? And probably, yeah.
No, just a big thanks. We have had a good, solid inputs for the role of social workers. I think it gives us good direction on what areas to work for in future, doing research or even developing some services or interventions. I think it's been a great session. Thank you so much, Professors Sojan Anthony and Dr. Matthew. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, yes, can I invite Dr. Shagin Sultana to say a few words now that she's appearing here? And probably I will invite Dr. Leena thereafter.
Sir, apologies. There's some technical problem, as I already mentioned to you. It was wonderful listening to both the resource persons. And I think Professor Gangadharan, always as usual, very well organized. And there was a blend. There was from NIMHANS, Dr. Sojan Anthony from the theoretical point of view, and Dr. Matthew here from the fieldwork practice. And I was also happy hearing to Anu also. So I think a big thanks to the collaborators. And thanks once again, sir, for inviting suggestions as usual. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Leena, would you like to say something? Dr. Leena is hopefully from Manipal. I'll just wait for her to open. Okay, now, if you don't mind, can you hold on, Dr. Sojan and Dr. Matthew will probably ask one or two questions. Let's not ask on the chat. Let us ask them to open up and say anything. Any of them have questions. At least one or two people can ask. At least students who are pursuing their PhD in dementia care would be ideal to ask the questions. Please be brief. We don't want lectures from you. We want you to ask questions from two experts. We don't want you to give us explanation. Just put very clear question. Just give 5 minutes more. Any of you? We'll wait. Prabhakar, they can open, yeah? Yeah, go ahead. They are shocked that we are asking them more questions. Okay, now there are any questions on the chat box? Let me not informative class. Okay. Rajashekar sir, thank you very much. Okay, fair enough. So since there are no questions from the participants, can we close the show?
Sir, I actually have one question.
It's
I'm Revati Vyas from Manipal, first year MSW student.
Excellent.
I just wanted to know, how do you change your approach to caregiving based on the various stages of dementia?
Dr. Sojan.
Thank you, Revati, for that question. See, we get people from mild cognitive impairment onwards here at NIMHANS. So they sometimes come with caregivers, sometimes they come alone to our clinic. Sometimes people refer to us for various reasons. And we see that a gradual decline in the individual's functioning and then gradual increase in the caregiver's burden. So we always try to balance it, that as much as possible using the medical and behavioral interventions to delay the progression of illness to ensure the autonomy of the individual. So that's how we handle it. Definite stage, maybe Dr. Matthew sir will be in a better position to tell that which stage caregivers will be more, because his UK experience, so I could listen. Matthew sir, over to you, sir.
Yeah, great, wonderful.
Yes, actually it depends on the conditions of the individual. It depends. And at the same time, in my UK experiences, there is the end care is in the nursing homes. That is, they mentally, they agreed that here it is difficult. The stigma is much more higher than any other places. Now itself, the people are residential or nursing homes. So one-to-one personalized care if possible, that is the best thing. And at the same time, we are in Kerala especially, we are very, very difficult to get professional carers. We will work in a shop for us 5 or 6,000 rupees per month. But even if it is 25,000, we are not able to work in the home or in the care setting. That's a big issue we are facing in the coming grey revolution. So this question is very, very intelligent question, and we have to address in different level. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now, I think Dr. Mangaleshwaran, if you are there, would you like to say something before I close? In case you are there, I'll just wait for 30 seconds. Yeah, yes, there you come. Yeah. Yes.
Thank
okay,
you,
I
sir.
missed Professor Mangaleshwaran.
Sorry, sir. There was actually, as usual, network problem here. Thank you, sir. Gangadharan, once again, you have really made a good show, because collaborating with several institutions is a great sign of achievement, I would say, because as a senior person like you can take all the institution together in conducting these programs. And in fact, the two speakers really enriched and enlightened us on the various aspects of dementia. And I hope that they have opened an eyes for the researchers too, right? Because the persons who are really venturing into the research of dementia, it would be a great idea to take home messages for them to get new ideas. And a lot of ideas we have come out with these two lectures, especially how we are going to work at the grassroots level, and how we are going to work with the old age homes and the wanderers, and how the community participation would really help us to do a justice for the persons with dementia. And certainly there should be a collective efforts, not only from the social workers, even the persons from the other field, like psychologists, psychiatrists, the clinical psychologists, and all people should come together to mitigate the issue of dementia. So that should be the major idea on which we have to work. So thank you once again, Dr. Gangadharan sir and other heads of the institutions and the resource persons today. And I hope that the target on which we are working has been achieved. Thank you, sir.
Okay, with that, let me close. I think there are some comments which probably we will not respond at this point of time. Why the social workers are not included in the recent allied health care profession list? That's one. The second thing is, there is a huge deficit of literature with special reference to social work practice with persons with dementia. Let me tell you, Dr. Shagin, we all have to work together with as a team to bring this out. I think with the kind of knowledge that only two people at this point of time, Dr. Sojan and Dr. Matthew, giving in, and with all the hard work they are doing, I think if we all can put together, I'm willing to spend time and efforts in this. If you are able to put together, we should probably bring out some nice monograms. I think what you have seen from what Nimans is doing, I think they're getting a lot of funds, because the kind of institution they are, they're getting a lot of funds, but it's not going to be limited only to Nimans. I think a lot of social workers can come together. I think let's look at, let us set some target that by this time we will bring out some monograms on understanding dementia, because let's understand the number is huge. India's number is going to become huge. Not only people with dementia, I think all the allied things that they were all mentioning, people don't even understand what is delirium. People don't even think that they can be treated like what Dr. Sojan mentioned. I think we need to probably bring out some nice, and let's look at it. And once again, thank you, Dr. Raja Samuel, for partnering with this program in the last 5 days' time. In addition to all the universities and the Department of Social Work, I continue to look forward to it, and hopefully 2023, we will all meet in one city over a program and conduct it. Let's all meet once at least, even if not hundreds of people, at least about 30, 40 of us, let us meet together to see what we can collectively do. Thanks a lot once again. I'm extremely sorry that I was not visible to anybody in the last 4 days' time. I have moved to Chennai in the last 15 days' time. So I'm trying to adjust myself to the life situation here. So I'll be here for some time. Thank you once again. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.